Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices for the 23rd of June, and starting with the Russell here. Now, last time that I spoke, we had, just to get things into perspective, because I do the counts in a very conservative way, I counted 5 waves up here to have this 5 wave, this 5th wave here of this 3rd wave here. But it does appear that the move up here that we're getting in the SP 500 and the NASDAQ appears to be impulsive, all right? So we'll look at the next degree higher here, which would look a little bit like this here. So we're looking at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 moving up, so just above the 2,500 for this market. But at the same time, we need to validate this particular move as well. So that should start to occur very shortly in most of the indices, so to speak. So if I take a look at this here on the hourly chart and just drill into this little area through here, so as you may know, from this wave 4 here, I counted 5 waves up in blue, but I don't have 5 waves down here. It appears that we've got a 3-wave move down to this point. So it's still possible for this to fail and move to the downside, okay, with having wave 5 up here. But today I'm just presenting a different scenario of, further upside. So if it all fails here, well, then we'll start looking for short trades. But I think it's important that we put this forward today. With that in mind, just looking at the hourly chart here, it does appear in most cases, in most indices, that we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and going up for wave 5. So really what we can look for here is we can look for a tested support on top of 2,300. Which will also be the top of group 1. So we're looking for a classic trading levels pattern sitting on that level here. So you really need to wait for the first high above the level and then the ABC correction. But this, that first high above the level, that's significant. Don't chase that little bit up there, because it will fall back and test it, 90% of the time. But once you've got that high in, that's your reference point to go long on. You can go long on the B wave high here, the ABC here, the B wave high, and you may be able to get a better position on the 2,300, because this little pattern in here will be a smaller version of this larger pattern here. So you should be able to get, drill down into this point here. I'll also build in through group 1 as well. So when we're looking at 300 as a minor level, the next degree smaller is a sub level. So we've got 10, 20 and 30 here. So once we get a tested support on 30, then we know that we're leaving this number here, the larger number, the 300, and we'll be pushing up to the next level, which will be the 5. So we've got group 1, 10, 20 and 30, then the midpoint here, and then we've got 80 up here and so on. But getting support on 2,330, that's going to be, that there'll be no looking back after that particular point. The other point too here is that if we do get 5 waves up here, then after a correction, which could pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, so I should just drop that down here a little bit further. Once we've got these 5 waves here and a correction, that means that because we've got 5 here in the opposite direction of the trend, we're going to get another 5 here. So it is looking bullish. So now I want to have a look at the S&P 500 and just talk about that a little bit as well. One of the main things here, if I can just point out that roughly from this low here, so the distance of wave 1 to the upside here, it's a little bit short there, but that's okay. wave 3 can't be the shortest. Well, it can be the shortest. It just makes the wave 5's got to be even shorter still. But in most cases, we see, you know, if everything's traveling smoothly, then we should see wave 3, this wave 3 here, be longer than this wave 1 here. So that's really got to take us up to the, you know, above the 4,500 to 4,800 in that way. So I feel that this wave 3 here is still churning to the upside here. That's why I've got it like this here. So I do feel that there's further to go to the upside. I know that I was calling a top in here last time we spoke, last Friday. Monday, but the market seems to want to push up higher, so we need to rearrange the market, the count to take us higher, because I always go for the conservative count first and then build from that point, and because that way I can kind of just gather evidence in that in that way, you know. So based on that, with this larger wave 4 sitting down here and going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for this blue wave 5. Copy that, put that up there, turn that into 5 there. Oops, the daisy, there we go. So yeah, we're looking for 5 waves in that lot. This little stick here, as I've just mentioned in the previous chart, is pretty much the length of wave 1 roughly, so I'll just pop that there for wave 2. Just gives us an idea that we should be, you know, the wave 3 should be above that. I mean, normally it would be, you know, the length of wave 1 plus, you know, 60%. So it could even just continue to push up to the 5,000. But as always, I just have to go one step at a time. Otherwise, I lead myself astray. So yeah, I've still got to kind of figure this count out here a little bit. But, you know, if you know, if we go back and have a look at the Russell, for instance, so we've got this orange wave 4 here, and we've got this orange wave 4 on the NASDAQ as well. Here we go. So on the NASDAQ on this date here in May 12/13 here. So that sits here. So that makes it nice ABC for the NASDAQ. And then it puts this one over here as wave 4 on the same date as well here. And so this wave 1 up here and wave 2 here, that would be in line with this one here as well. If I put wave 4 here and look at all of this wave 1 and 2 here, then it puts us in the same date and the same time and the same count for all of them. So I kind of like that in a way. Yeah, so with this one here, you know, so we've still got to prove this. So proving it would be, well, one way would be taking out the high here, wouldn't it? And if that's the case, we're looking for 3, 4, and 5 up here. How far they will go, I'm not quite sure. We just have to see what, you know, the strength of the trend based on on whatever's happening in the world at the time. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. So from that basis, picking up at wave 2 and 4 here on the intraday, on the 4-hour chart here, I'd be looking at it like this here. So before, last time I spoke, we counted this up to be a top in here, and that could still be the case, but it does count quite nicely as 5 waves up and pulling back into the 50-60% retracement level. And if we get 5 waves up here, so we've got little 1 and 2 here and 3 and 4 and going up for wave 5 here, so we're going to see this come in probably around that previous top here and then be pulled back in 3 waves here as an ABC pattern, how far it comes, normally the 50-60% mark, and then moving up there. So I think that our long trade would be basically here for that. If I go to that on the hourly chart, it would look a bit like this here. So looking at that as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So it's looking quite good, you know, for a bullish count. But, you know, either taking this top out here would confirm that, or having if I let's just open this up a little bit here and just work on this bit here a little bit. So I don't think that's finished to the upside, but wherever it goes, right? So then we'll have an A wave that will probably come back down here and bounce off that for the B wave, check and supply again, and and then coming down. I don't know how far it will come down, but yeah, the important thing here is that second high there, that B wave high. That's the one that we want. You could probably get it lower than this too. You could probably get it down at the C wave here for wave 2, and you can just get the 50-60% retracement level from this low to wherever that high is there, and that will, you know, sort of plays out here. So somewhere back into the 4.2 would be probably right. So somewhere in that sort of space anyway. So you could probably pick a little bit up here. The other thing that you could do too is build in through these levels. If you you know, you have to you know what's you've got your own way of recognizing things. So if you can recognize that the market's bouncing off here and it's quite strong, you may be able to build in through group 1 here of 10, 20 and 30. I can say that if we get support on 30, like a little pattern like this here, that nice support there, then you could also, you know, build in on top of 30 there, because if 30 becomes the support, 4,230, if that becomes the support, then you'd be pushed up to 5 at that point. And then there'll be a little dance there, of course, and then up into group 2 at that point. So yeah, today just presenting this more bullish count, but it needs a little bit of confirmation, but it's looking quite good. Okay, so this move here to this wave, because we're in wave 2 here and we're wave 2 here, so we're in the blue wave 3rd here now, and the green wave 3, so we're in the 3rd of the 3rd here. So then there'll also be another little pattern in here as well, so there'll also be wave 1 here and 2 here as well. So this is when the market starts, if this is correct, right, the big if this is correct, then we'll get wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and the market will push off really quite strongly through here. So if you don't have much in at this point, then this would be the point to grab it at over here for sure. So that's really about it, really. Yeah, we'll just see how that goes. I haven't had time to work on the NASDAQ, but say with the Russell here on the 12th of May, 13th of May here, this up for 1 and back for 2 here, I kind of got to fold that into this move here a little bit as well. So I'm not quite sure how to do that. So I haven't had time to do that, but I can say that, you know, this seems to have its own little count, which is a little bit different because it never had that pullback that the other guys have had. So it's probably 1 and 2 in here or something of that nature, you know. So we could see this move up reasonably quick from this point. I mean, normally I just say buy new highs above here. That's the way that I would do it, you know, because we've got a little classic trading levels pattern in here. And then just keeping the stop under the level here. Okay, so let's put these away and we'll have a look at stock now. So if the markets are going to be pushing, you know, if the indices are going to be pushing higher, that means obviously they're going to be pushed up by stock, doesn't it? So obviously stock's going to move higher as well. So I've had bearish counts on a few of these, so they will need to be changed now as well, and we'll probably need to look to the upside for those. So so finding a mix between the analyst and the trader hat was what we need to do. So in this case here, it looks like I've obviously talked about being long before in this, so it's something that that we can carry on with as well. I mean, we obviously had before, before I would have had this sort of over here, looking at this top over here probably, but and then looking at this as coming down for down for 1 and back for 2 here, but we're past the 50-60% retracement level. So this bullish count here that we've obviously talked about before needs to come into play. So that's what we're going to talk about now for this. Now let's just have a look at this, get a bit of perspective on this. If that is wave 1 going up here, right, then wave 3 is going to be longer, isn't it, than wave 1. So we're going to be seeing something like this. So we're in quite a good spot here actually, because we're working with 500. 3,000 is sort of irrelevant, but the 500 is I just find more relevant. So 5 is the second strongest number, and it's really played sort of havoc here with this market. So but it keeps, it keeps banging its head against that glass ceiling. So at some point it looks like it's going to go through, which obviously it could be well, all things being equal, this would be a good time for it to push on through here. It looks like in a small way we've had the arrival here and the reaction here. So it looks like we're going to be looking at the first little high above the level here. So that's going to give us a little bit of a setup there. And then we probably see a bit of a correction over here and then move up from that point. But I kind of feel that anything could occur in this space here. So I just think that we should just look to, because it's stock, as long as you don't have leverage, then we can pretty much enter around this, If you go to the intraday, we're looking at a pattern like this, a little arrival reaction first. We haven't got the first, we're in the process of getting the first high above the level now. So if you wanted to wait and for the pullback and all that and look for this, then that's fine too. But yeah, so I think that we can move into Amazon. I won't look at the tick chart today for this because I'll need to rearrange the count. But what I can say is support on the 500 in your own way, then we can start looking for long trades, and we should be pushing up to 4,000 without too much ado. Okay, Google is next, Alphabet rather. So with Alphabet here, it's pretty clear we got wave 1 here and 2 here. And then we need to work this up here as wave 3 here. So I'll just make a start here with this. I'm not happy about that. That's not quite right, is it? So one of these have got to be stretched out a little bit. So first of all, this is going to go higher here. That wave 3 looks a bit short. Let's just go to the tick, and this, or first of all, this here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're close to 5 here. So we should see a little correction here, which we are seeing at the moment. But one would expect it would have some sort of ABC correction here, and then a push up from that point based on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. Oh no, that's okay. We can just kick that back a little bit. We can look at this as 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So that would be a 4th here. So we're going to see that push up into here. I won't worry about this one too much because I need to figure out what's going on in the bigger picture here. Yeah, we're looking for one more wave up here anyway from before, weren't we? So and then we're close to the 2,500, so that's going to present another problem as well. This wave 4 is probably better. Well, I'm on the tick chart here, by the way. 100 ticks is probably better sitting here. It's going to push up to here, but yeah, look, it's just going to spend some time here. If we should, it's going to push up with the rest of the markets. We should see some sort of, once we get support over here, then we can look to go long here. I just don't know what's going to occur here, Google's got a bit of a mind of its own, so we need to allow it to play out at this point, at this price point here, because we need some sort of we'd need some sort of first high above the level and some sort of corrective move here for that before we can, look to go long there in the bigger picture. And I've got to figure it out as well. I've got to figure out which wave's going to extend in that case. And that brings us to Apple, because we were also looking, if the indices are going to turn, then we're also looking for Apple to turn at its 50-60% retracement level here. But that doesn't look like that's going to be the case either. Now, we've had this as a wave 4 over here, so this might play out quite nicely now in that regard. So let's just make some adjustments here for this, and that was bringing wave 4 over to here. We'll just bring this here for the time being. I'll need to do some more work on these, but I'm just doing this off the top of my head here. So we don't need these guys here. I can take this one here. Well, really, the A wave here, B wave up here, that goes across here. We'll need that over there. This is 5 waves coming down through here, so that will need to be put at 1 degree smaller. We've got enough of these, I think, so let's just delete a few of these. We'll keep these guys. Where's that wave C? That will go there. I mean, that never really produced a nice wave 1 here. But this here played out nicely as an A wave, a B wave, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 as a B wave and a C wave here. So this would be a running flat correction in that regard. So maybe that's not right, but it's kind of okay for the time being. But what we need to work out now is we need to work out, is this just going to move sideways, or are we going to be seeing this move up here now for this? I mean, I know it's going to move up, but how far is it going to move up? And yeah, but in a nutshell, it's moved past that 50-60% retracement level there. So really, and it's got support on top of group 1 here now. It's still got a little 5 waves up here that we were looking for on the tick chart. So I might just go to the tick chart and just check on this. We don't need these guys here, I don't think. Good enough of those. I might leave those ABCs in case we're stuck in here. But one of the things that really catches my attention here is that this market's all about this number here, this price point, the 130 here, because it's trying to, it's been trying to sit on there for quite some time. It's sat here eventually sat here, and then we've got that, this point here, which is higher than this one, which is good. So it's trying to get up there on that. But I just want to have a quick look in this little move here for this on the tick chart. Just getting a bit more data here. Yeah, one of the things that really bothered me about this is that we never had, from the low here, we never had a 5 wave move up here. But I wonder if this C wave has got something to do with this. There's 5 waves down for the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for that. And then this being the impulse wave moving off here. We were looking for a short trade here, and it's quite interesting really, because we never really got the retest. We got the breakthrough here, and that's what we normally wait for, and we wait for that, and then we sort of wait for that low to be breached. So that never occurred at that point. So it just had the move down rather than the rather than the retest. We had a bit of a retest here, so that means you could bring the entry down to that low there. But that's what I like about that. It just keeps you safe. We never had a nice 5 waves up here, but it looks like we've got 5 waves here. So it looks like we've got some sort of, I know I've got to figure this. I've got to do some work here, but I can see here that we've got 1 and 2 here, and we're going to go 3, 4, and 5. So, and we're above this level here. So we can go long here now for that. That will just take us higher at that point. But I've got to figure out the new count for this. So yeah, because here we've got a little classic trading levels pattern. We have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the correction, and then up. So that high there would be the one to go long on at that point. Now we just got to be careful about where we put the stop here, because this would be wave 1 and 2 in here. Then I'll need to work on this a little bit, but 3, 4, 5. So we could end up seeing this pull back here a bit. So let's just say that we can see it going up a little bit higher. So, but I'll just take it at 35. That will leave the 61.8% there. So that means that the stop needs to go under here for this for the time being. So I'll just put that in red. I hope that's helpful a little bit, because there may be more of a bit of a dance there. You know, this could move up here and then come back here and do that kind of stuff, you know. We can look to add to this a little bit later on. And I don't know if that's wave 1 yet either. You know, this could be some sort of more complicated sort of pattern here, where we have the A wave here in 5 waves, and then an A and a B and a C wave up here for some sort of B wave up here, and then a C wave down here. But the way I figure it is that if I can just use the Russell again here for a moment, this was how many days it took to get wave 1 here, blah, 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 all of those. So really, the wave 3 is going to be like much the same, and the 5th wave is going to be much the same too in terms of time, depending on how long wave 4 takes to cruise across. So, you know, this here times 2 or 3 would be how long we're going to be in this trend for, if I've got this correct. So that means that, you know, the driving stocks, you know, the Amazons and the Apples and the Facebooks and things like that, they're going to be driving this higher in that regard. So yeah, I'm not sure how to play this out yet, but as a trader, putting the trading hat on, that's what we need to do at that point. Okay, let's move on. So this brings us into Facebook. So once again, we're also looking for a short trade setup, that looking for a break of those lows there. That's not the case. So in one way or another, I need to extend this trend here in some way or another. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to do that. But at the same time here, I want to point out that we've got a nice support now on top of group 1. So we've got 300 here, which is a major level. Then we've got 10, 20, and 30. These are minor levels. So we've got a nice tested support on top of minor group 1 there. So that means that this here can go straight up to here now and go long above that high. And the stop for this here would be, yeah, let me see that. We'll just put it here for the time being. We might have to just adjust it later. That's going to take us to this point, probably a little bit higher there, based on this 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and 5. Yeah, we're going to be moving up. And so in one way or another, we'll have to look at this as wave 1 and 2 in here. But I'm going to be changing that as well. But there's This is going to be way up here somewhere. And I'll need to adjust this, and then if I adjust this, I'll need to relook at this, what I've done here as well. I mean, I kind of like this as a wave 4. Here, this wave 4 may need to go back over here, and we may need to look at this as wave 1 and 2 in here, something like that, you know. But anyway, for the time being, we can look to be long there. It's probably, you know, if you wanted to be a little bit safer, just this move up here, because we could probably get 5 waves out of there. It's probably a good idea to, I'll just make this point here of leaving the leaving the stop out of the way from the 61.8% mark here as well. That might be too far away for most folks, but if we're going to be in this trend for a month, then it's not such a big deal, you know, just to, in this case, we can pop it under the 10 here. That would be safe at that point. But we'll talk again about that tomorrow. Yeah, okay, let's move along. Square. Okay, so this makes a bit more sense now for me. So we know that the move down in this first A wave here had always been in 3 waves, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the A wave, the B wave and the C wave. So that made whatever was going to happen next corrective, as an A and a B and a C for the B wave, and then down for the C wave here for wave 4. So if the other market, if I didn't have a bearish opinion, a topping bearish opinion on the indices, we would have been long here much earlier. But that wasn't the case. So I needed to be a little bit careful about this. But now I don't see a problem with it. I just see this moving up here further, taking out these highs here. So the question now really remains of you know, how do we move into this? And how do we count it, you know? We probably have to count this as 1 and 2 in here now. Let's go to the tick chart on this one. It shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, first of all, this is group 1 here, this 230. So that means that we can go long above here. And we also need to look to add on top of 250 as support. So we can look for a classic trading levels pattern here. So I'm not sure if this is going to... It's had a bit of has had its sort of own mind a little bit, so we need to respect that. This is the 50-60% retracement level from the previous high as well, so you know, this is why we're getting that turn there in part, and it's possible for it to move back into this space here for this, but once it takes that top out, that's not the case. And maybe this can be counted differently up through here. Maybe this low here needs to be reevaluated as well here. So with this, I'll double check on that before I move that. But we should be able to go along here. So because we're going to go into a bit of a headache at the 250 here, it's probably a good idea, and to be able to manage this a little bit better, just to go half position at this point on that high there. Let's just see if it pulls back. it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this. So we may get an A wave here, B wave, an A, B, C over here, and then we may see this pull back down through to here. And if that's the case, then we can look at putting a move across the top here, you know. Okay, let's just allow that to play out, but that's looking good. And Tesla, so do we need to review this see this in a different light now too? So first of all, we're looking at it down as an A and a B and a C wave here, with wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here, and coming back for 4 here, or over here for 4 and coming down. Also possible to count it down as 5 waves for wave 1 here and coming back for wave 2 in the box here, and then going down as well. So as from wave 2 high here down to wave 3 low, the 38.2% retracement. So as a wave 4 here, it's still standing okay here. So then the 50-60% retracement level, let's just get that back here a little bit better. If we looked at all of that as wave 1 coming down and wave 2 here, yeah, that's about right there. So first of all, if this market climbs above the 650, which is a medium level halfway between two major levels, if it climbs above that there, then we'll have to eliminate wave 4. And then we'll need to look at the market as wave 1 here and wave 2 here for that. Okay, now the third thing is that, well, Pete, if we can count that as 5 waves down there, why can't we stick this wave C there and be done with that correction? I mean, it hasn't really moved much past wave A here, but I've seen that before. That's okay. So they're the 3 options that we've got. Now, if it is wave C here, for instance, then and we've got this haunting, you know, let's just say that the market moves above here into this space here, then we'll eliminate the wave 4 at that point, right? But at the same time, we don't want to get trapped from this going long and having a wave 2 there. So we'll need to have a classic trading levels pattern sitting there, like that first high above the level here, coming into that 61.8%, and then, you know, something of this nature. So then we'll go long above that top there. That's about the safest way I can sort of imagine it, you know, because otherwise we'll, you know, if it drops below here, we can just go short below here, or even under here, we can go short under here. But yeah, I mean, it's highly likely it's going to climb up here. You could go long here and put a stop under here if you were that keen, but getting a small position here and doing that, because we could look at this as wave 1 here and back for wave 2 here, and then all of this here is a little bit messy, I have to say, but we can get 5 waves out of that. But yeah, so I think, see this move here as it you know, came back up here. We can go long above here, and we can drop that down to the next level here, and we can drop it down here, and so on. We can work it. It won't be as large as that, because it's quite volatile there. All the ranges are quite big here. All the ranges in the bars are quite small because nobody's sure of what's actually going on here. So, but it is building. I'll check on the volume next time, and because as a move from this low here coming back up here to be at I suppose wave 1 can be quite small on the volume too. So, but I'll check it anyway. Yeah. So look, that would be the long trade setup at that point, and that's okay too. That's, you know, we'll be able to get a better position. You know, we can drop it down to the next high here and so on. And we've still got plenty of time, because if this is correct, then we'll just see Tesla move up, you know, above the old high here. you know, and we've got a couple of months, so, you know, a lot can happen in a couple of months. So, yeah, let's just see. So anyway, we may be turning bullish on Tesla, but we need to move. We need to move through this situation first. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.